95% is the number of startups that are failing. And that brings us to this question that why is this that so many brilliant, educated, well-intentioned, well-meaning people trying to do startups, well-funded also, arguably, and they are failing 95% of them, which is a very huge number. To be able to do both B2B and B2C is almost an impossible task. Hi, good evening everyone.
Hi everyone.
I guess there are almost 24 people there, so we can get started. It's already 5 minutes past the scheduled time. So welcome all of you. This is the first session of the 10-week long program which we are running as part of the Startup Bootcamp presented to you by ACE, which is Agents of Change Entrepreneur by the Change Engine. We'll talk about a lot of things, including what is Change Engine, what is ACE, and so on. And we'll definitely talk about one most important thing, for which I'm guessing all of you have come, is to know what are the reasons why a lot of startups are failing. And we also have Bhavish with me. Bhavish is part of the cohort and an entrepreneur who is working on a very, very exciting project. And he will talk about that and his experience so far with the Change Engine. But before we begin, let me just do a quick introduction of myself. My name is Shailendra, and I am the co-founder here at Change Engine. And so far I've had more than 15 years of experience building products largely in the 0 to 1 space, which means that products which are not there, you have to create something. And having worked in multiple organizations, largely product-driven organizations, such as Make My Trip, Nearby, Magic Bricks, Spinny, and so on, and having built multiple such products, at Change Engine, my intent and my focus is actually to help the community, help the people who are trying to build new products, whether it is in the B2B space or the B2C space. And I bring with me the experience of having built multiple products, having seen that change from desktop to mobile. I remember when I started at Make My Trip, this was 2011, and I was handling the desktop application. And I remember my boss, Pranav, who is going to be speaking next in the next week program, he told me that you have to work on the mobile interface and you have to work on the mobile app. And I did not know what to do about mobile because I did not even know how mobile works and how internet works on mobile. But from there to now, where 90% of the traffic and maybe more is on mobile, I've seen that how things change, and that is my intent, and that is the endeavor to help people to understand how consumer behaviors change, how new technologies emerge, but the fundamentals of business and the fundamentals of product doesn't change much. Which means if you can just apply your common sense, apply the first principle thinking, you should be able to crack any area. So that is that's my background, and with that, I will straight away jump on to the topic for today. And I want to start with a simple slide which has 3 numbers, which all of you can see on your screen. Can anybody tell me what am I going to talk about, especially because this is in the context of startups and startups failure? I'm assuming a lot of you will be able to guess. Is anybody who can guess what is this number? You can just type in chat, or and then I'll be able to see what are you writing. Any idea what is 99,000 in context of startups? Anyone? 99,000 number of registered startups. Yes, Siddharth, you are right. And number of founded startups. Yes, a lot of you are getting it right. 99,000 is actually the number of startups which are there, which is registered in India. And 108, I think some of you mentioned it right, 108 is the number of unicorns in the country. I am guessing all of you understand unicorn, right? Companies which have $1 billion valuation and above. What is 95%?
I think Siddhant have answered.
Actually, they have
He's
answered.
like an overachiever.
Okay. Yeah. So 95% companies shut down. Yes, Apurva, you are right. That is the failure rate. So 99,000 number of startups in India, 108 the number of unicorns. I'm hoping it will very soon be 109 with your startup. 95% is the number of startups that are failing. And that brings us to this question that why is this that so many brilliant, educated, well-intentioned, well-meaning people trying to do startups, well-funded also, arguably, and they are failing, 95% of them, which is a very huge number. With the experience which I've had and having read about this industry, and now in this role of where I'm talking to a lot of startups day in and day out, I have basically come down to these 3 reasons why startups are failing. And let's start with the number one. Number one reasons why startups are failing, and many of you will think that I'm joking, is actually that there is no need of that startup. That there is the wrong problem identification around that startup, which means, in simple terms, that the organization or the startup is making something which the customer doesn't need. Doesn't it sound very fascinating, almost idiotic, that why would you make something which people don't need? But almost 42% of the reasons why startups are failing, and this is as per many of the surveys across the globe, the number one reason is not that people are running out of cash, or that they don't have the right team, or the competition is catching up, and so on. The number one reason actually is that there is no market need, which means you are making something which people don't need. I'll give you an example of this. How many of you can identify this on your screen? This looks like a circular device kind of a thing. Anybody who knows what is this? Roomba, yes. Akash. MI robot. Cleaning robot, of course. So many of you are guessing it right. It's a vacuum cleaner robot, and this is built by a very famous company called iRobot, and the product is called Roomba. I was fascinated to learn this story, and can you guess when Roomba actually started, when iRobot actually started, what is the first product which they built? Anybody who can guess? What is the first product which they built? It was not a vacuum cleaner, by the way. Of course, this was based on the same technology, which is that of robotic, but it was not a vacuum cleaner. You'll be surprised to know that the thing which they had created was actually a doll, and they were selling such a sophisticated technology to people, to kids, as dolls which people can play with. The idea is that, the founders there and the people who had actually created Roomba from very well-known colleges like MIT and all, they had a very fantastic product. They had a very fantastic technology. I won't even say a product, but they did not know where to fit that product. And they stumbled upon multiple ideas, including this, which I found very, very funny and fantastic, that they had created dolls. And of course, they could not sell much. And then finally they stumbled upon this idea of why do we not use this technology to solve for a very basic need, especially in the US, where you don't have a lot of household maids available as easily as that in India, that there is a device which can clean your houses and your technologies are working there. In fact, now in India also, this product is now a hot sell, especially after COVID, I'm assuming. Their sale actually shot up during the COVID days, where people had to do their from their own.
I think they were in millions and millions now.
Yeah, I think they have sold almost 40 million of these units so far.
Like definitely they wouldn't have sold off like these dolls.
Yeah, of course, dolls was, and with the right product, they are now able to sell 40 million of these products. It's a very, very successful organization. So that is the number one reason. I can give another example, which is that of Google Glass. Yeah. I'm sure a lot of you would have heard of Google Glasses. Now, Google Glass was a fantastic technology, is a fantastic technology, but a lot of people there was not even need of having to wear a glass and walking out in the streets. And that is why the number one reason why Google Glass sort of failed drastically and dramatically, because the technology was there, but there was not the right product market fit. That is the term which we use a lot of times. I'm sure Bhavesh would have heard of this term from us a lot of times, how do you attain the product market fit, which essentially means what is the offering which you have, which is the product, what is the market need, and can you do a fitment between these two. That is the product market fit. And so that is the number one reason why products are failing, because you're not able to identify the right need from the customers. Number two reason why do startups fail is, and Bhavesh is laughing on this because he likes the joke so much on this slide, is basically the users are, or the startup entrepreneurs are choosing the wrong model or the wrong market to sell. What do we mean by that? I'll actually give you an example and make you understand. I'm talking about a very famous company, which is Make My Trip. I happened to start my product career from there, worked there for 4 years. I'll just try to play this video, and this will tell you what I'm trying to hint at. Let me just play this.
We are America's best, G. You're looking for economical fares, na? बस आप लोगों को गोवा via Moscow जाना पड़ेगा. You know, best fares for best holiday. इते book करा, cheapest in America. ओए, my wife लाजो. या फिर आज रात की फ्लाइट आप पकड़ लो, और पापी जी और बेटे को next month की फ्लाइट पकड़ा देंगे. इते फिर book करा. और कोई problem हो तो you can call me anytime, day and night, but after 11 a.m. and before 4 p.m. ते book करा. Please.
Penji, अरे makemytrip.com को कॉल करो.
लाजो.
Hello, makemytrip.com.
Planning a trip to India? Call 1-800-INDIA-10 or log on to makemytrip.com. Your India travel specialist.
I love my hello.
So with this video now, I think you would have understood that Make My Trip actually, which is a well-known, in fact the number one OTA in the country, you will be surprised to know that it did not actually start from India. It started from India, but very soon they realized that because of the low internet penetration and low purchase power capacity in India, the right TG is actually that in US. And people, NRIs who are staying in US wanting to come back to India. And they actually started their journey from the US. For good 3, 4, 5 years, it was running from the US. And only then the second office, which now became the headquarters, was started in India. The second thing, which is on the model, I think with Make My Trip, the other thing was also, and in fact I happened to be there when I was working there, we had a B2C as well as a B2B model. A B2B model is where they are selling this to the agents who are then selling it to the customers. And we intentionally shut down that business because we wanted to focus squarely on the B2C model. And Varun, who is the founder of this organization, he keeps on saying a lot of times that to be able to do both B2B and B2C is almost an impossible task. And you have to basically choose one, whether you want to do B2B or B2C. And that is the right way to approach. So Make My Trip took this decision very early, where they said that they don't want to be focusing on the B2B side and squarely were focusing on B2B. So those are the examples which tell you that if you are not able to choose the right model or the right market, and the market means whether you want to sell it in India or whether you want to sell it in the US, whether you want to sell it for the tier 1 cities or tier 2 cities and so on. Basically, have you figured out who is your target customer and what is the model in which you are trying to sell this? Those two things, a lot of companies actually falter in that, and that causes the reason for their failure.
I would cut you off. Someone messaged that they are not having audio. So is it like an issue from their end, or we are not audible?
Is everybody able to hear?
Audio is fine.
It is fine. Okay.
Okay,
Sure, we'll go ahead.
Yeah.
The number 3 reason, which is the cause of the startup failure, is this. Can anybody tell me what I'm trying to hint at with this picture? This shows a globe. This shows the globe and a rocket. I'm not talking about Chandrayaan. What am I talking about here? Anybody? Unsustainable growth. Pollution. Okay.
Okay.
Pollution is a problem, but I don't think pollution is the reason why startups are failing.
Could be in future.
Yeah. So this is Yeah, unsustainable growth. Yeah, you were kind of there. Basically, the answer I was looking for is
Skyrocket.
escape velocity. All of you who would have studied science in the 9th, 10th would remember that, beyond a certain velocity, you will hit a escape velocity, and then you are able to escape the gravitation force of the earth. Escape velocity is used in the sense that, are you able to sustain? And that is why he is right in that sense. Many startups, because they start off, they are solving a few use cases. They do initial business through their family, friends, and so on. But after a point, because the product and the process are not sustainable, they are not able to break through. And sometimes it is also because of the cash, because they have the right product and everything, but they don't have the right amount of money or monetary resources available for them to see off that phase. So that is the number 3 reason why a lot of startups fail. So number 1 was product discovery. Number 2 was the inability to choose the right market or the model. And the number 3 is the failure to hit the right escape velocity. That's the number 3 reason. Now, why? Because we have spoken about all these 3 reasons, what is Change Engine trying to do to solve for all of these 3 things, right? That is where we have introduced ACE, or Agents for Change Entrepreneurs, which means we want to handpick a few people, such as Bhavesh himself, and work with them through a 6-month program in which we give them the office space, the wonderful office in which we are sitting here right now. We give them some initial funding. We give them the space, the mentoring, the guidance which is required for them to break through the initial, the 3 reasons which I said startups fail, which is help them to identify the problems correctly, help them to choose the model in the market correctly, and also help them to get to the first set of customers and financially support them enough so that they are able to hit the ground running and escape and hit that escape velocity. So those are the things which we are trying to do through our program. This is incidentally the season 2, the first season, which was launched actually this year in June, and Bhavesh is a part of that cohort. We already have that program running where you can see on your screen, these are the people who are solving multiple problems. Bhavesh and Nikhil, they are trying to create an AI-enabled sales tool. Bhavesh is from BITS Pilani, Nikhil is from IIT Kanpur, both final year students, recently passed out this year itself. Then we have Vivek and Pawan. They are trying to create an AI-enabled video editor, which might help people like me who are amateur YouTubers and try to help them in that entire editing cycle. Then we have there are people who are also doing some non-for-profit or impact-driven work. So Anurag, who is from IIT Delhi and FMS, who is trying to build an outcome-driven financing for non-profits. Ritvik, who is doing a very, very, I would say, exciting work, which is around an incubator for aspiring politicians. And Sonali, who is trying to build a foundation for transgenders at workplace. So very different, very diverse areas which we are working on. And every day we talk to each of them. We talk to them about their ideas, about where they are stuck, about if we can connect them to somebody, and if they are stuck in terms of a model, in terms of the market, in terms of technology, in terms of product ideation, and so on. And right now they are right about midway, and they are able to have, most of them are now able to have a product demo ready, and very soon we'll be hitting with the VC funding round. So I'll ask now introduce Bhavesh and ask him to talk about his journey so far, what inspired him to take up entrepreneurship, because he's from BITS Pilani, one of the better known colleges of the country. He could have easily got placed somewhere. Why did he take entrepreneurship as a career option, and why did he join Change Engine, and what is it that he has figured out during his journey which he would want to tell to the future entrepreneurs which they can learn from?
Yeah, sure. So before starting, like Shailendra has already introduced me, So like I graduated from BITS Pilani in July 2023, and I've been a part of the first cohort of Change Engine. So it has been very exciting, and I've learned a lot. To start with, like how did I start? Like entered in entrepreneurship for the first. Uh, so in BITS we have like an internship duration, like for 6 months for a semester, where you go outside, go to Bangalore. Like I went to Bangalore to like basically gain that industrial experience, and at the same time I realized that like working in like a corporate environment or working under someone was not something for me. And around the same time, I just out of passion I started dropshipping e-commerce store. And dropshipping is basically kind of a system where you don't own your inventory, you just show the products from vendors on your own site, so you earn a commission. It's a, I think many of you might be familiar with it. So it was just a first step towards doing something of my own. And I had over 1200 products on the store. I was suffering, like the business was not working out because they were like very low sales. We got to the main reason, and the content was not good. From there, I realized a first hand problem that like when you don't have a lot of money to hire copywriters, you could like basically use generative AI to create content for the product pages. And this is where we started. This is where I started with the idea that let's shut down everything. And it was like when it first came into my mind, it was like basically something that I really wanted to move forward, a really big pull, that this is something I want to build and I want to help others who are facing similar problems. So I just started building the product, and those from there itself I started realizing what were the mistakes I was making. So the first thing which I did was that I did not talk to a lot of customers. I just started building because I faced the problem firsthand. I faced it myself. I realized it is a big enough problem. I just started, and I didn't look for a co-founder because I was really into the idea. So I could do everything. I could be a one-person team, one person who's managing the entire startup, which honestly is a really bad idea. So like as I was moving forward, these like the issues mentioned, I came to me while like working with some customers. I realized that I could not make it scalable. For a startup to hit that escape velocity, you need to figure out how you can make your solution scalable.
Yeah.
But for each customer there were very a lot of customizations, so I could not make it scalable. We had a software.
Yeah, I can fully resonate that a lot of times as students, final year students or third year students, most of our ideas revolve around things which we encounter.
Yeah.
And we think that is the problem, and we think that we represent the customer, and we start making that is the 101 for product management, which is you are not the customer in most of the cases, and you have to understand the pain point by actually multiple ways, by talking to the customer, looking at data and so on, which a lot of entrepreneurs actually fail to do. So tell us to everyone that how did, when you joined Change Engine, how did you change your approach, or was there any change, or did you did the same thing again?
No. There were like a lot of changes. So the best thing like which impressed me a lot about Change Engine was the 1 week cohort, like basically a qualifying round out of all the candidates. So in that cohort, they broke down the journey of your entire startup in 4 days. So like if you can see this small diagram to the right side, it's double diamond approach. So instead of searching for the problems or ideas which you could build a startup on, they said like go 2 steps back, focus on the problems, see all the problems which are there in the space, and then come back and converge to a single problem which shows the biggest pain point, and then go about looking for multiple solutions which can be built, and then finalize something which can be delivered from your end. So there were like multiple things happening in those 4 days. We were ideating, we were building product, we were learning how to take user feedback, we were also had a mock investor round, and then itself I was like totally convinced that this cohort is something for me, for someone who's like building a startup first time, I needed a lot of support, needed a lot of guidance from point to point. And they also made me understand the importance of having a co-founder, importance of researching before starting building, talking to people. So yeah, at this point I just realized, okay, this is something I need to go. And basically we started with the cohort. I got selected, and it was like really good. For the first month we focused on multiple ideas, multiple industries. There's inventory management, we dived in free water. Is anyone familiar with that concept, free water? I don't think so. It's not that popular also. So free water is basically that you can reduce the prices of water bottles by advertising on them. So it's a concept which is getting popular in US. We, like, while searching for ideas, this came in our mind ki why not do it in India? And like while we were looking for a pilot, and like Change Engine was cooperative on that. They were like, okay, they were like very open on those. We had our freedom on thinking on multiple industries. So that
in fact, the joke was that every time we would meet him and he had a different idea.
Yeah.
And like, okay, because we are in the first phase of, as he said, the double diamond, which is one of my favorite frameworks.
Yeah, even I'm loving it
of
now.
Diversions. So we were also allowing him to just go out and explore new ideas, because it is not that you can force fit something. So he did explore, and some of that is mentioned there.
Like,
He did
these
explore
are
a lot of
not
things.
all the ideas we have went through, but like there were also some kitty party idea in India. There was construction involved, like a lot of things. We searched and researched. In India, there was a bigger problem that when you're targeting Indian market,
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. So when you're targeting bigger Indian market, like the market always comes out to be small. And this, like, we tried multiple ways. It was the same problem. Free water ke saath, the problem we encountered was the sentiments of Indians. Like if you're throwing water bottles in dustbins, like there's a huge pushback on that. And the unit economics did not work well for us. I mean, some might have figured out a better way. But yeah, so from landscaping multiple ideas, we came to a finalized space after shifting to one idea to another from like weeks. We fixed automation in sales. We realized from a previous mistake, and we talked to a lot of people. We spent 2 months talking. We meant, like, it needed a lot of patience. When you have the idea, you are want to build a solution.
Yeah.
But we spent those 2 months talking to a lot of people, gained a lot of insights, and now we have finalized like what we do. This is like kind of a long statement, so but it briefly like gives you a very concise idea of what we are doing. That we are a generative AI tool for enterprise sales teams, reducing manual research hours by 90% with personalized meeting prep notes before every client call. So like if you can see, we have finalized who is our target audience. Who are we targeting? These are enterprise sales teams. What is our value prop? We reduce manual hours. What we do is that we prepare personalized meeting notes before every client call. And generative AI is basically a buzzword. So if you have generative AI, you just put it there. So
But in fact, this one-liner used to be something which we encouraged and asked the founders to do almost every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So every 2 weeks they had to rewrite this one-liner. This is like in a way Twitter model of a sales pitch, right? So in less than 140 characters, how can you define what is the product? And this is what they kept on doing now and again.
We even made smaller versions of it, but like just to give you a full understanding. And overall, just to summarize the lessons and all the ways change engine has helped, is that startups have a high failure rate that is taken, and we make a lot of pivots. Like for me, it was weekly, sometimes on a daily basis. So going with a scientific approach of like deep diving in the problem space, identifying the right problem, has helped a lot. And Change Engine was fully supportive on that. Change Engine actually like brought in multiple frameworks for us to assess a particular industry or a market, and they are also connecting us with potential customers. So few of our pilots are from Change Engine's network, and that is actually really helping us get the drum rolling, get the process sped up. And we have a lot of entrepreneurs are there in the cohort, and the cohort has mentors who are ex-entrepreneurs themselves, like Varun, Shubham, everyone is there. So basically, there's a lot of cross learnings which are happening. Shailendra is a product guy, so he has given us a lot of product insights, and like there are weekly sessions happening every day. Like we are sharing progress, we are discussing on things. We are getting a lot of feedback on that, and they are also supporting us in fundraising. Like right now, we are working on a pitch deck, so they are helping us on that. They are also helping us connect with a lot of investors. So overall, Change Engine would be a great step for anyone who is starting up a company, who has the will to work on a startup, but needs some guidance, needs some support. So I would really recommend anyone who's in that phase to join Change Engine. And from my journey, the lessons I would say would be that talk to customers first, talk to people for whom you are building the product. Don't just go about building it, because you will end up building the wrong product. You will end up wasting a lot of time, and that happens with the smartest of people. So that is there. I think
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thanks, Bhavesh. As Bhavesh has rightly put that, this is how we are operating on a daily basis, on a weekly basis. Coming back to the cohort for next year, which is 2024, we have this time enlarged the scope from the previous year, which is where we were focusing largely on the job tech scenario. We have tried to enlarge that, and we have 3 themes this time, which is what you can see on your screen, which is first is deep tech or next gen AI, where we want people to be who are using the next generation AI and use that technology to solve some of the bigger problems in the country and across the world. Second is that of gig economy, in which we are trying to help people who are trying to create more freelancing and creator economy kind of jobs. The archetypes there, maybe you can think of Fiverr or Upwork, that kind of those kind of products. Third is the impact area, where we are focusing on impact driven individuals who want to create a change in the society by some smart interventions. Mostly using technology to solve some of the bigger problems. So you can think of companies like Impact Guru or Samagra and these kind of companies. So we are open to having people who are interested in each of these or any of these areas, and may not be that you have a final idea. You may be passionate about that area and you want to do a startup. That is the basic requirement. And of course, then we will do a rigorous assessment to make sure that you fit that. Yeah, Bhavesh.
So you can also be in a phase where I was like, I had an idea. Firstly, I submitted a form with one idea. Then they evaluated me on another idea. I had a product on another idea. I was demoing at the end of the cohort on another idea. So, but they were like really passionate. They just realized that I'm a good product builder. I can talk to customers and all. But there was a struggling phase which they could see. But that was on that note, you could be on a pre-idea stage as well.
Yeah.
You could not be like very specific on the idea, but like you have very high passion on building.
So the main focus is on the individual. We are not testing you on the idea, but you should be passionate about one of these themes. For example, if you are interested in something which does not fit here, it may be a good idea, you may be a good individual, but because we also want to focus on a few areas, these are the 3 areas which we are focusing on this year. And some of this Bhavesh has already helped articulate that. So I'll just go through this quickly, which is the 4 things which we are doing is, first is co-creation, which is not like a VC model where we just give you money and you can do whatever you want to do with this. This is a co-creation activity where you're sitting with us, we're working through you on developing ideas, on the product, on the go-to-market and so on. So it's a co-creation activity happening. We work on first principles basis and the fundamentals of startup principles, which is failing fast, iteration, frugality and so on. We try to help the individuals learn some of these concepts through the course of the 6 months. Then we are taking a lot of help from the entrepreneurs. So the founding team, the list of jury members and mentors which we have, most of them are entrepreneurs themselves. So this is not just a academic gyan which you are getting, but a real insight into how you can break through some of these bottlenecks. And of course money. which is you need money to take off some of these things. So hopefully with a combination of these four, you should be able to have a decent chance at reducing that 95% failure rate. We are not claiming that we will reduce it to 0%, but hopefully we'll be able to reduce. Purv, do you have a question?
Yeah, I actually have one.
Yeah.
So, when you were saying that will be provided with the funding, I have a doubt. Obviously, most of us are first-time founders. Right?
Yeah.
So, we even don't have, might be someone more experienced can actually help us in figuring out where we can invest that money that you guys are going to provide.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So, in that co-creation model, will that be clubbed as well?
Yes, of course. So, see, the money which we provide, you are typically going to invest in people, you are typically going to invest in buying resources and so on. So we help you to use that money judiciously. If you remember, I use this term frugality also. We tell them what are the cheaper ways in which you can, because you want to save this money as much as possible for the rainy days. So we teach those concepts also.
And by invest, like not in stocks, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Obviously, I don't mean investing into resources.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Thanks, Apurv. And in terms of the product or the program timelines, this is the start of the online startup bootcamp, and you can register on the link which I think right now Akshat would have shared through the Change Engine ID, and you can sign up for this so that you will be notified for all the such webinars which we are having. I'll present to you a list of all the webinars which are going to happen very soon. Then after that, we will be shortlisting a bunch of the people with which we'll be doing one-on-one nurturing sessions, which will be across January, February, March. And finally, we will have a 1 week in-house evaluation thing, which Bhavesh also mentioned, somewhere in the March. And then we will start offering to the final startup, and the program eventually launches in June. Why June? Because we also believe that many of the founders here are final year students, so we don't want to interrupt their academic year. But for example, if somebody who is already a working individual, and if we finalize that, because it's going to be like a rolling thing, if we finalize somebody in January, February only, we may start engaging with him, not on a formal basis, but on an informal basis, maybe starting then only. So, but June deadline is that because of the final year students. In fact, in the current batch, almost half of them are final year students, right? So then, so eventually we give, in terms of the numbers, we give 6 lakh rupees as the initial funding, which can increase all the way to 20 lakh basis how you made the progress. 6 lakh is a fixed amount which is certainly given. 20 lakh depends upon how you proceed. Then almost around 10 to 15 lakh of perks, which includes the office space where we are in, which includes a lot of free credits of AWS, Zoho, Amazon, and so on. Then there are demo days and connections. One demo day we are having next Monday itself, where people from the industry come in and give feedback to the entrepreneurs. We also help them. We have our panel of CAs, lawyers, and others who help them in all the legal support, because we understand that you must be doing this for the first time, many of you rather, and you need a lot of help around registering a company, the term sheet, and all of this. So we help you understand some of these concepts and give you all of this at sometimes for free and sometimes with a very minimal cost, which the third party vendor will be charging. And we have an empaneled vendor of people also who understand technology, UI, UX, product, digital marketing, which you can leverage. And of course, as he was saying, there is this community being developed, right? So you can also lean on to other founders for a cup of coffee or beer, if you may. And so that is it which we offer. This is the founding team led by Varun Agarwal, who is the founder of this, who is also the founder of Aspiring Minds, which is now an SHL company. He he did his master's from MIT. He happened to be one of the first people from my college, because he's also from my college, NSIT, and happened to be one of the first people who actually went to do his master's from MIT, from our college, and did it in an area which all of us talk about nowadays, but was a very, very nascent area back then, which is AI, and then founded this company. So he's the man, he's the vision behind this ACE and Change Engine. I have talked about myself. Shubham, who will also take some of the sessions going forward. He's so part of the founding team. He's also the co-founder of this organization called Leap Club. He's a Y Combinator person. He's from IIT Delhi. And we have this list of amazing jury and mentors who help us at any point in time. We call them. We have online sessions. They help. They are like our angels outside in the outside world, and they keep coming back and helping the jury, the founding members, the founders here. And as next steps, what you need to do is apply on the link which I think has been shared. We are doing the startup bootcamp, as I said. These are some of the programs which we have finalized for the next 4 weeks, which are mentioned here, and we will keep updating this list. If you can register with us, we will keep sending you mails and notifications around this. And I'm looking forward to some of these conversations. Like Pranab Hasin, who is the director in product engineering at Amazon, amazing product and tech person. Shubham, who is going to be talking about why is this the right time to do a non-profit organization. Khilan, who is the head of product at Razorpay, will be talking about how to build world-class products. And Varun himself will be talking about how to build deep tech startups from India. So those are 4 wonderful sessions coming up, and much more as we finalize the next 4. So that is it. I think I'll sign off with this quotation, which is that your direction is more important than your speed, and it does not matter how fast you are moving. If you are moving in the wrong direction, then your speed doesn't matter at all. And our focus in this 6 months is actually to get you to the right direction, so that you can of course accelerate at your own pace. That's it. Thank you guys.